Hello everybody, I am back to making videos for this channel since I have the time now. Thank you for all the love shown to my first video ever on here. I was not expecting that at all. Also, I'm making a TV show with a few other folks. The link is in the bio, and you can also stick around after the video to hear more about that. Right now, I have 2 video essay drafts about Our Flag Means Death, but for today's video we have 2 interests of mine, warrior cats and Dungeons and Dragons. I had this idea when I was trying to get to sleep and I could not get it out of my head, so now I present warrior cats as D&D classes. Here's a game you can play in the comments. Pick your favorite warrior cats character. Whatever class that character is, that's what class your next D&D character will be. What are you playing? I'm going in order of each character's first appearance, so if you don't want to be spoiled for future arcs, you can just stop watching after Power of 3, because I know that's when you all stopped reading. Firestar is a paladin. He's essentially StarClan's chosen, fighting in the name of the clans and to protect his loved ones. He's like the classic hero type. For that reason, I'd make him Oath of the Ancients, but he could also be Oath of Glory. Bluestar is also a paladin, but with a twist. She's an Oathbreaker paladin. Formerly of the Oath of Glory, she loses her faith in the ancestors that are essentially a deity in the series after Tigerclaw betrays her, and her loss of trust in her clan becomes a loss of trust in her god. Graystripe is a bard. Not gonna lie, he was the hardest one to come up with, but I'm thinking he could be a College of Swords bard since he talks and he fights. Sandstorm is a fighter.
Sandstorm strong.
Yellowfang is a cleric. Not every medic is going to be a cleric because I feel like that's kind of boring and formulaic, but I do like the war domain for her. I think it fits her past really well. She was a warrior and then was basically forced into the medic role. Alternatively, she could be a Way of Mercy monk, since her mentality involves healing when you can and killing only when someone is beyond their help, like her son Brokenstar. Cinderpelt is a life domain cleric. She's full of positive energy. She could also be law domain though, since a big part of her role in Arc 2 is telling Leafpool she doesn't get to run away with her boyfriend because she signed a no family, only healing contract. Tigerstar is an Oath of Conquest paladin. I almost went with the Battlemaster, but I think that the wanting to rule over everyone part of his character is more important than the good at fighting part. So who is Tigerstar sworn to? Tigerstar. Tigerstar is sworn to Tigerstar. Darkstripe is also a paladin. Who is Darkstripe sworn to? Tigerstar. Darkstripe is sworn to Tigerstar. He is, in his mind, the rightful sovereign leader of the forest. That's right, Darkstripe took a misguided oath of the crown. Brokenstar is also a paladin. Just kidding. Brokenstar is a bard. Just kidding. Just kidding, just kidding, Brokenstar is a bard. He is a bard of the College of Secrets. He deals in social power and secrecy and shadows, which fits perfectly with how he blackmails his mom. Goosefeather is a wizard. He's a divination wizard, aka the subclass that gets portent rolls. That felt appropriate for a character who sees into the future. Tallstar is a paladin. When his goal early in life is to avenge his father, he's Oath of Vengeance. But later on, he takes the Oath of Redemption since, as leader, violence is his last resort. When he learns the truth and loses his drive for vengeance, his magic leaves him and returns when he rejoins WindClan and finds his new purpose. Can you guys tell that I love Tallstar? Ravenpaw isn't an adventurer. He's the party's favorite helpful NPC and he must be protected at all costs. Similarly, Barley is the innkeeper. He always takes in weary travelers and only gets involved in the plot on occasion. Thornclaw is a scout rogue. He's in his element when he's in the wild. Out on patrol. Brambleclaw is a fighter, probably a battlemaster. The rest of his character is pretty inconsistent, but the one thing I do know about this guy is that he's good at fighting. Squirrelflight is a druid. This one sounds off, but hear me out. She opts to protect the disadvantaged, even when it's in her best interest to stand aside. So she's a Circle of the Shepherd druid for how she sticks her neck out for Leafpool and the sisters. Leafpool, then, is a sheep. Just kidding, Leafpool is a cleric. I really like the Arcana domain for her since it's about study, understanding the power of healing, understanding the world around you. I felt like that really suited her studious character. Crowfeather is a bard. He's my second unlikely bard, but he does dedicate his life and name to the memory of the fallen, to Feathertail. Bards of the College of Lore keep history alive, And none of the speedy classes felt right for him, since his most distinct qualities are his personality and drive rather than he can go fast. Feathertail is a fighter. I chose the Cavalier subclass for her, the Mounted Fighter. What? A mounted combatant? This is Warrior Cats! But in Feathertail's biggest moment, she was a mounted combatant. She rode Sharptooth right down to the cave floor. I'm sorry. Stormfur is also a fighter, but he took a few levels of Druid after he met his insta-girlfriend Brooke in the mountains. Tawnypelt is a fighter as well, and she'd be an Echo Knight because I feel like a cool, shadowy mystery fighter suits her well. Jayfeather is our first non-cleric medic. He is a Circle of Dreams druid. He heals, but he also walks in the dreams of others. This druid subclass even has an ability literally called Walker in Dreams. I mean, come on. Lionblaze is a barbarian. This is the best suited class to the character so far. You maybe expected a fighter, but nope, that boy has rage. Path of the Berserker level rage. He and the rest of the actual 3 lose their magic after the Great Battle. Hollyleaf is a paladin. She's dogmatic to a fault. She goes from Oath of Devotion to Vengeance, almost a reverse Tallstar. But then she finds out that she has no magic of her own, unlike her siblings. She returns from the tunnels as a monk of the Way of Shadows, well adjusted to travel and combat in the dark. Soul is a wizard, which is a fun mental image. School of Enchantment wizards have a class ability called Hypnotic Gaze, and Soul is definitely a charmer. I also considered the Trickery Domain Cleric as well as the College of Glamour Bard. Breezepelt is a warlock, our first one of the video. He took the Fiend Pact by training in and serving the Dark Forest. Fiend Pact warlocks get their power from an evil being from the lower planes, and Breezepelt gets his power from Dead Broken Star in Stinky Forest Hell. Fallen Leaves is a Gloomstalker ranger. He lives in the darkness, and this subclass involves getting to threats before they reach the rest of the world. This, along with Lionblaze, is one of the best matches that I found. Rock is a shadow magic sorcerer. He has very loose ties to the living. There was this bit of flavor text about the shadow magic sorcerers, about, quote, the spark of life that sustains them is muffled, and I felt like that was a good fit for this long-dead ancient cat. I thought about giving him the Great Old One pact as a warlock instead, but I feel like he is the Great Old One. He's an unknowable ancient being whose motives are hard to discern. Hold on, should I change Jayfeather to a warlock? And then snapping his stick is when he breaks his pact. I'm just talking about Jayfeather again. Ivypool is a Pact of the Fiend warlock. She shares this class with Breezepelt since they take Evil class in Hell together, until she discovers Hawkfrost's and the Dark Forest's true colors, and secretly switches her pact to that of the Celestial, which is StarClan in this world. So she actually keeps her abilities, but the flavor changes. She could also take enough rogue levels to subclass as an Inquisitive rogue when she becomes a spy. Dovewing is a ranger. She is a Horizon Walker ranger, keeping an eye out on extraplanar threats, seeking out portals, which you could flavor as when she literally saw directly into hell, and she seeks to preserve life. I chose this subclass for her because of the Watchman aspects of it. Tigerstar II is a wild magic sorcerer because boy is his character unpredictable book to book. I cannot pin a defining trait for him because he's used so situationally. He's likable for a lot of his Super Edition, but then in Squirrelflight's Hope, when they need a bad guy, he is an absolute monster. But then he's this overprotective father in the Broken Code. Who are you, Tigerheart Star? Briarlight is a College of Creation bard. She boosts the morale of her companions, especially gloomy Jayfeather, and she loves being alive and just celebrating life. I like that she could still cast as a bard after being paralyzed. Basically, she is a ray of sunshine. Greywing, from Dawn of the Clan, just kidding, I'm not gonna steal that joke. Greywing is a paladin. He's an Oath of the Ancients paladin, serving as a spark of hope for his group when times are tough. Clear Sky is a paladin as well, giving us Dawn of the Clan's paladin brothers. He's an Oath of Conquest turned Oath of Glory paladin, and he changes sometime after the first battle. Maybe he also loses his magic temporarily like Tallstar. Thunder is a champion fighter. He never gives up, he's got high willpower and a strong resolve. Tall Shadow is a mastermind rogue. She works people well, and she remembers what she hears. Windrunner is a monk with a mobile feat, making her as fast as possible. Alderheart is a cleric and an alchemist artificer. He is multiclassing. He comes up with a lot of new ways to heal, kind of like his brother Jayfeather. Yes, Aaron Hunter, they are brothers. He's an innovator, like how he heals Puddleshine with death berries despite the other medics not really thinking that that's an option. He could also be a Grave Domain cleric. I feel like that would pair well. Needletail is an Oath of the Open Sea paladin. She's all about unrestricted freedom. She seems like she'd be a sneaky rogue, but she's got a paladin heart deep down. Darktail appeals to her values and tricks her when she's young. Also, I know that I'm kind of painting an image of Pirate Needletail, which is also awesome. Twigbranch is an Oath of the Crown paladin who keeps switching which crown, she's sworn to. Violetshine is an inquisitive rogue. She's kind of a spy within the kin, and she learns to keep her motives to herself. Tree is a Peace Domain cleric. He's about finding non-combative solutions to large-scale political problems. He started out with an Oath of the Open Sea, kind of like Needletail, appreciating freedom and the beauty of the natural world. But when he settled down with Violetshine, he learned to solve his problems not by running away from them, but by talking through them peacefully. Darktail is a Way of Shadow monk. He's all about stealth more than strength, especially with how he, drowns people in the middle of the night. Heads of monasteries of this subclass, quote, expect the unquestioning obedience of their students, which fits well with how Darktail and the kin were basically like, you ride with Darktail or you get drowned in the middle of the night. Bristlefrost is an Oath of Devotion paladin. She's all about law and virtue. She doesn't even break her oath by falling in love with someone from another clan, since she sticks to the code and ends up becoming a case for why those rules should change. She fights for good and order to the end. Rootspring is a wild magic sorcerer. His abilities work in unpredictable and ever-changing ways, even for his heritage. He gets his sister abilities from his dad Tree, but new powers keep presenting themselves, and he can see things, dead bramble stars, that even Tree can't. I like the Broken Code protagonists being one big buff paladin Bristle and two squishy sorcerer boys, plus sorcerer boyfriends? I kinda spoiled what Shadowsight is gonna be. Shadowsight is a shadow magic sorcerer. These kind of sorcerers get their magic from the Shadowfell, a dark and dreary plane between life and death. And Shadowsight gets his visions not from StarClan, but from Ashfur, who's made a position for himself between StarClan and the Dark Forest. He's way too squishy to be a cleric. I do like the idea of him being an unwilling warlock born into a pact with Ashfur as his patron. Either way, he loses his magic when its source, Ashfur, is defeated. And finally, Ashfur is an Oath of Vengeance paladin, Natch. But also, he could be a warlock who is his own patron, drawing his power from his own negative energy to the point where he can sever the interplanar ties between StarClan and the Dark Forest. Alright, which class did you get? If I didn't get to your favorite, tell me who it is in the comments and I'll save those up for a part 2 if there's enough interest. One last thing, I co-wrote an upcoming TV series called This Is Fine, and I would love for you to get involved. We're gearing up to make our pilot episode, and we're almost halfway to our crowdfunding goal, which is super exciting. I've poured a lot of heart into this show, and so have my co-writers, as well as the rest of the production team. We have fun rewards available to our supporters, so if you can pledge or even just share our campaign, I'll literally owe you all my future 20 portent rolls. The link is in the description. Thank you so much, and until next time.